In Goodfellas, Tommy gets whacked, but why was he the only one killed? And why weren't Jimmy and Henry Hill killed alongside him? Tommy DeVito doesn't die because he's loud. He doesn't die because he's crazy, and he definitely doesn't die because he's unlucky. He dies because he broke the one rule you can't break in the mafia. But here's the real question. If Tommy helped pull off the Lufthansa heist, if Jimmy helped kill Billy Batts, and if Henry was dealing drugs behind the boss's back, then why is Tommy the only one who gets whacked? To understand that, we have to understand one thing about Goodfellas. In the mob, everything comes down to business. When Martin Scorsese made Goodfellas, he wasn't interested in romanticizing the mob. Based on Wise Guy by Nicholas Pileggi, the film shows organized crime from the street level. It's narrated by Ray Liotta as Henry Hill, a half-Irish, half-Italian kid who grows up idolizing gangsters. Henry teams up with two men, Jimmy Conway, played by Robert De Niro, and Tommy DeVito, played by Joe Pesci. And right away, the dynamic is clear. Jimmy is the brains, Henry is the connector, and Tommy is the volatility. And volatility is expensive. Here's something crucial. Tommy is the only one who is fully Italian. That means he's the only one eligible to be made, or in other words, to become a formal member of the mafia. Jimmy and Henry, they're half Irish. They can earn, they can kill, they can make millions, but they can never be official members. That's why it means so much to Jimmy when he finds out Tommy is going to be made.
Jimmy was so excited, you'd think he was being made.
This is also why Jimmy is so upset when he finds out that Tommy wasn't getting made and got whacked instead. Jimmy wasn't just upset because his friend was killed. It was because in his eyes, Tommy getting made was like he himself was getting made. Ironically, the fact that Jimmy and Henry couldn't be made may have saved their lives. Because once you're made, you're accountable to the rules at the highest level. And Tommy breaks one of those rules in the worst way possible. Midway through the film, Tommy murders Billy Batts, a made member of the Gambino family. That's not just a bar fight, that's a death sentence. In the mafia, you cannot kill a made guy without permission from his boss. No exceptions. Batts was untouchable, and Tommy didn't care. He let ego override structure, and that single decision sealed his fate. Jimmy helps with the murder, yes, but Jimmy isn't a guy who can become made. Tommy is the one who pulled the trigger. Tommy is the one whose name goes on the violation, and violations require retribution. But Batts wasn't the only problem. Tommy also kills a young kid named Spider. Spider is a nobody to the higher bosses, and they could care less about him. But Tommy's murder of Spider shows something even more dangerous. He has no control. Spider isn't made, he isn't powerful, he's just a kid. And Tommy shoots him because he feels embarrassed. That's not business, that's instability. The mob can tolerate greed, it can tolerate violence, it cannot tolerate unpredictability. Tommy isn't just a liability to other families, he's a liability to his own crew. Jimmy Conway helps kill Batts. Jimmy orchestrates the Lufthansa heist. Jimmy even starts eliminating his own crew afterward. So why isn't he killed? Because Jimmy is a top earner. After the Lufthansa heist, he's bringing in millions. In organized crime, money buys protection. And as long as Jimmy is profitable, he's useful. And in that mob, usefulness can outweigh wrongdoing until it doesn't. Henry breaks another major rule, drugs. Paulie explicitly forbids it. Henry does it anyway.
Paulie, why would I want to get into that?
Don't make a jerk out of me. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
And when he gets arrested, it could have been over. But Henry survives for one reason. The FBI gets to him first. Witness protection doesn't just save Henry from prison, it saves him from Jimmy. Because by the end of the film, Jimmy absolutely intends to kill him. Henry doesn't survive because he's valued, he survives because he flipped. When Tommy thinks he's being made, it's the ultimate setup. He walks into that empty room expecting honor. Instead, he gets a bullet in the head. It isn't emotional, it isn't dramatic, it's business. The killing of Billy Batts required balance. The Gambino family demanded of it. And Paulie couldn't protect Tommy from that. Not even for the Lufthansa heist, because killing a made guy without permission threatens the entire structure. And structure is everything. Tommy doesn't die because he's the worst of them. He dies because he broke the hierarchy. Jimmy survives longer because he earns. Henry survives because he cooperates. But none of them truly win. That's the genius of Goodfellas. In this world, Temper gets you killed, greed isolates you, and loyalty only lasts as long as you're profitable. Tommy wasn't killed because he was crazy. He was killed because he forgot one thing. In the mafia, no one is bigger than the rules.